Welcome to another episode of Jamba, Hydrated. And today, this is a special moment, special episode. Tunajua this month imekuwa Women's Day a few days ago, and also ni Women Month. Lakini pia every day is women's time, so tumeona sisi kama wanajamba, kama Jamba boys, tulete hapa our close people. I'm close women ambao uko close na sisi. They're gonna be having a conversation. Sisi wenyewe tutakuwa. Sit back, enjoy, and to all the women, mazee, we appreciate you. Our mothers, our sisters, wenye pia hatujui, you know, yeah, and happy Women's Month.
Women's Day is recognized all over the world, but the Women's History Month started in the US, but now it's celebrated by women everywhere. So yeah, it started during the fight for equal rights and the voting rights. And so most of the important political decisions like the Title VI, the equal voting rights was passed in March, I think March 22nd. Yeah, so a lot of important bills in the US that pertain to gender have been passed also in the month of March. So it's a wonderful time to be a woman. But right now, a lot of people all over the world have picked up the whole month as the Women's History Month, which is nice.
Yeah, it's nice, but I wish it translated into like our day-to-day lives. I feel like we talk about women getting equality in policies and stuff like that. But I think in our day-to-day lives, in the corporate world, in school, I still feel like we would say things like, oh, like women can be leaders and stuff like that. But when it comes to like voting, nobody will vote for you as a woman. And in fact, your womanhood will be used against you. A good example is in Kenya. I don't know if you guys remember when Mother Karua was running for presidency. And it was such a sad moment because to me, she's my hero. Like 100%. And I'm thinking, instead of you thinking about how smart she is, all the things that she's done, like through her political career, the one thing you want to fixate on is the fact that she's a woman and you don't deem her fit to be able to lead because of her gender. It's beyond. To introduce.
Much later.
Mr. Seni. We are glad kukua kwa hii episode ya Jamba. Mimi inaitwa Wambo. Social media Wambo Kaburu. Yeah, I love life. I live large. I try to. Like kama economy inanifinya.
I think economy inafinya kila mtu at this point. My name is Shinina. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
My name is Esther. Nafurahia kukuja kwa Jamba Hydrated to talk about Women's History Month.
Yeah, Esther, we wanted to hear what you have to say about women's rights and how it's translating.
Yeah, I still feel like we have a long way to go. Although kuna steps yenye imetekiwa, that's like looking back, we're not the same place we were like 5-10 years ago. So kuna strides mengi zimefanyika. There are women presidents now. Although vile Shinina amesema, still like you look at corporates, the top 5 people, mostly it's usually men. Although kuna equally capable and women when you are qualified, they still have to work. We still have to work more than the man, ndio tukuwe na the same recognition. And also like when umeenda maybe running for office, they always look at the woman. Where you have a family to run, you have to take care of your kids. There's no way you'll be successful kwa hii position kama uko na watoto nyumbani. So I feel like people will always look at the woman gender first before looking at her potential.
Yeah. And isn't some of like when we talk about like gender biases and stereotypes, these are things that people think are set and they should be happening this way. And like what you've talked about, like a woman cannot be a president because they have to take care of the home. That's a bias. Same thing in the corporate world, and also things like the pay gap. So we still do have quite a long way to go. But looking back in retrospect, I think we've done quite well. I mean, we're not where we should be, to be honest, but we've done quite well, because I cannot imagine about 60 years now, 70 years ago, we could not vote. It's something as simple as this, unfathomable. As Esther likes to say, it's unfathomable. So that's why it's important to have this month to celebrate the great things that women are doing, that they have done, because there's a lot of erasure of history of women's contribution in throughout history. So it's very important to have this time of the year where you can kind of command everyone's attention to that.
I'm interested to like for us to talk about career and how like we've progressed from when we were young women in school to even choosing our careers. I know you're an engineer like me, and I know that has come with its challenges, being a woman and people literally not believing in you. And I'm interested to know like what that journey looked like for the both of you.
So, do you want me to go first? It's been quite a journey, to be honest. Well, I would say I was privileged. I was lucky to be brought up in a home where, I didn't face any, I wouldn't say any bias, but my parents were encouraging me, go for it, you can do this, you got this. And I grew up in a very shielded and protected environment. So my primary years, my high school years, it wasn't a struggle. And then I got to uni, and then I was exposed to the rest of the world. And that's when I started, experiencing things like you meet with somebody and they're like interested in them. You're like, I'm doing engineering. They're like, oh, maybe see, I don't date engineers.
Wow, yes. Please.
I mean,
Why?
Because apparently you're too smart and you're too opinionated and things like those. And for me, honestly, it was a big shock, because I grew up in a place where I was allowed to express myself, to be opinionated, to be loud, and that was harsh. And then the other shock, I get to JKUAT and I realize in a class of 80 we are only like 10 women, and I'm like, oh. Again, as I said, I grew up in a very shielded environment, and so I started like seeing the disparities, and started now hearing stories of people who did not have the kind of support that I had going into that field. And even with that, it was still hard, because now people start telling you, vile engineering hii Kenya watu hawapati kazi, wewe kweli utapata sasa as a woman, and things like those. So there's those undertones in conversations that make you feel like, maybe I should have just stayed in finance. But of course,
not to say that finance is bad.
No. You see, this is like, there's that bias that, maybe, if you did finance, it could have been. And then I realized actually finance is very hard. It is very hard. So there's those unconscious biases, I really faced them. And then the other thing was like being the kind of the first of, being the first, and everybody's like, you're the first to do this, you're the first from this school to do this course, so you're expected to maintain some kind of image or some kind of, there's this concept that they have of you, so it's very hard to live your life the way you want. Like, I am a very YOLO kind of person. I love partying, I love having fun. but now that was seen like, you're not serious with this course that you took, and you have a lot to prove, especially because you're a woman and there are a lot of women, looking at you, which is not a bad thing to be a mentor, but it was a lot of pressure for me. Yeah, which it still is, but now I'm at the age where I can manage that.
Nice, I like that.
Yeah, so for me, I am in finance.
Yeah, math.
Math. But I didn't do that because I'm a woman. I did that. I did that because I like it. But maybe in my family, we are a family of 3 girls. We don't have a brother. So my dad and mom, they brought us up evil, like, so we didn't have anything to compare with them or anything like kuambiwa your brother anaenda engineering, wewe unaenda medicine, wewe unaenda, so our parents just told us, just do what pleases you. So my sister, she's in IT, engineering, same thing, but so but there's always that bias, women should not go into technical subjects.
True, yes.
That they should be, history, arts, English, literature. But really, even hata ukiangalia now, most statistics, there's a lot of women size when you're making those subjects, in those careers, and they're doing very well. So I'm happy to see that your bias inakuwa broken down.
Well, I grew up shielded like you, with my mom and dad, but we had the freedom to choose what we wanted to do. Majority of my family is composed of men, I think 95%. But I grew up with such a huge support system of men always telling me do what you want. This what you want to do it. Like, nobody should tell you anything. But then I would see these things, like you said, in school, where people they say things, they don't think about what they've said.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you'd hear someone say something like, oh, we get results back and someone says, oh, wow, you got that grade. And it's what would you what were you expecting me to get, or something like that? And I've had people say something like, oh, you're too beautiful to be an engineer, you're lying, or something like that.
I've had that
too. Right? It's like your value as a woman is almost belittled from the moment somebody looks at you and perceives something. I think the biases mostly existed in college. I was in a class where, first of all, I was the only black woman in the entire maybe 150 students, which is a whole other ballgame on its own. But you consistently see what people have to say and all those things, and sometimes it's hurtful and stuff. But I later on in my life, I started using it to my advantage, because then it was you expect me to fail, I'll show you. You know what I mean? You keep waiting for this to happen, and it's never going to happen for you. I'm never going to give you the satisfaction of seeing me down. But I really wanted to point to something that you talked about, and that's the pressure that comes with being a woman, and how you have to perform almost 10 times better than everybody else for you to even be considered just remotely worthy of anything whatsoever. And I think that's such a huge burden that I've lived with all my life, from primary to high school to college, and it takes a toll on a person. You get to a point in your life where you're I don't even know who I am, because I've lived for everybody all this while. just trying to like maintain an image or like be perfect and stuff like that. And I think it's important for us as women to realize that we can exist in the world however we want to exist.
Exactly.
We can own our spaces however we want to own our spaces, and like take charge where we want to take charge. If you want to party every Friday night and like go crazy, do you women as human beings rather than viewed as objects. And I think that's why so many things happen because you want to put everyone in a box. If you don't fit into this box, you're not good enough.
Yeah.
We should also put men in boxes. Maybe then they'll know what it feels like to have this.
But then they don't like being put in a box because just recently the incident that happened at home, the assault that happened, really bad. And then on the comments you'd see people clearly commenting, "Oh, not all men," and I'm like, well, we do know that, right? So you do know how it feels to be put in a monolith. So why do you do it to others? So I think it's important to understand, like it's we are divergent, and when we talk about things like even equality and all that, what we're saying is let everyone have their space to exist however they want to exist.
Because there's also the point where people say we want equality, but then when it's time for us to show up in things, we don't show up. So I think, for example, in the Ukraine war, which is really sad, and I hope that things get sorted out as soon as possible.
Yeah.
But then people being like, "Oh, women and children are the ones being like taken away fast. Like equality means everybody should be taken at the same time." Yeah. But I'm thinking like, I think there are physical features that men have that women don't have, which are biological and natural, that dictate that you should be on the front line versus me being on the front line. But if I choose to be on the front line, then I've chosen to be on the front line. Yeah. Like, I think at the end of the day, equality doesn't mean that like we are the same person, because we are not. There are things, I can give birth, Anthony can't give birth, right? Mm-hmm. Like the clear like differences that are natural, that are there to be there, like to stay. Mm-hmm. But I think equality is more about look at me for like what I bring to the table rather than just my physique or like my natural, things that I can't control, in short.
Yeah. And it's actually good that you brought that point up. Like there are some aspects of women that we really can't do as men do. Like if you look at maybe in the construction field, we can say equality, like women also have to go into construction, but the physicality part of it, we don't have that kind of strength to work in those fields. So when you talk about equality, it's not like in everything a man can do, a woman has to do as well. Some things, just our differences in physicality.
Well, I think for me, when I think about equality, it is having the freedom to do it if you want to. And not being. And I mean, I do not support war at any given time. And to be honest, for me, my thoughts on the whole idea of like, men have to stay and defend the country and women have to leave the country and all that. I just think people should just not fight, because the whole essence behind this, because I'm sure there are men who don't want to be on the forefront and they should not be forced to be on the forefront.
That's true.
So I think this whole thing for me, it just feels like it's just some rich people making decisions, making the poor people have to go through all this trouble. But for me, I just think this whole war thing should just... It's unnecessary, and no one should be forced to be drafted in war, whether they're male or female. If you want to go fight for your country. If you don't want, whether you're male or female, you should not be forced to go and fight. For things that probably will not end up benefiting you. So, I think that would be better. But again, as I said, we have a long way to go before we get to a point where something like that is possible.
Yeah. I have another question. This is around women and women having choices. And this is a very sensitive topic. It's on, I think, how we dress, for example, and like issues like abortion and stuff like that. And I know that has been such a huge conversation in the US and I think in churches and stuff like that. To what extent should women be able to decide like what we want to wear, or whether we want to have the child or not, whether we want to be married or not, whether we want families or not? Like, in your opinion, to what extent should we be allowed to make these decisions? Especially when you think of a context of marriage, for example. Like, if you're married to someone and this person wants a child and you're like, I don't want a child, right? And then it so happens a baby comes and you know, it's not what you are planning for, it's not something that you want, something like how like far do we go in terms of we have a decision to say it's my body, I'm the one who's gonna have to take the time off to take care of this thing and stuff like that. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, for me, I think a woman should be free to express how she feels in the marriage. It's a partnership, of course, so if she says that she's not ready to have the child, they can, have the conversation and decide, okay, you're not ready right now, what are your, what's your timeline, like, when will you be ready, or something like that. Beyonce, like, she and her husband, they agreed, like, for her, because she will be sacrificing her career in the music industry, so they decided for every baby she gets an allowance to cover for your time when she will not be performing and she will be losing money. Yeah. So they go.
This is like an allowance. I hope people are listening to this.
Yeah, so they agreed to do that. So I think you just have to express how you feel, what are you giving up, and what's your opportunity cost, and what will make you maybe want to get the child. So those kind of decisions, I think you just have to talk them out with your partner.
Yeah. When it comes to a relationship, then that's a partnership, and with every partnership, there's a give and take. So it's upon you to decide how much am I willing, to give, how far. And for different people, I have seen people decide to separate for reasons. One partner was ready, the other was not, and that's fine. There are people who, decide to set a timeline. So I think that totally depends on you and your partner. But it's absolutely your right not to go into something that you feel you're not ready for. Yes, because things like this, and especially when it comes to children, this thing is forever, So it should be a decision that you're making in good faith and in good consciousness. So let's talk fashion.
My dress, my choice.
Let's talk fashion. I think you do what makes you feel good. It's. I don't think there should be any reason why anyone should be telling the other how to dress. I mean, this is why we have very many different types of wears. So we are all, if you're going to the office, you know what is good for you and what's comfortable for you at the office, right?
Yeah.
And that should be okay. I feel like there's too much restricting. It's unnecessary. They feel good. The importance of dressing is
to feel good.
Yeah. And I think that's how it should be. So if you want to wear short clothes, wear them. If you want to... Our ancestors used to walk around wrapped in mandizi, what is it called? Banana leaves. So you do you. If you want to wear, cover your whole body from head to toe, you do you. Whatever makes you happy. As long as at the end of the day it brings you a smile. We have a very short time to be in this world. So, and it would look, if we all looked the same, the world would be boring, man.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
So, I think everyone should just be allowed to do what's comfortable for them.
Yeah, and I think once we start giving people permission to police what
Yeah.
people are wearing, then we give a certain level of power that doesn't make sense. I don't know if you guys remember. There's some time, I think after we finished high school, people were being stripped in town, CBD.
Yes, especially like stage.
Yeah, and at the stage, I think it was the Embasava stage. I don't know if I remember very well. But that's a consequence of a society that feels like they can tell women what to do.
Yeah. And
If you set a standard where we can be told, oh, that is too short.
yeah.
Oh, you can't have that crop top.
Yeah.
Oh, you're half naked.
Yeah.
Then there's no limit to what
to
people can
what
do.
else it can be censored in your life.
Exactly. And
Because then you'll be told you can't walk like that. You can't. You know, you can't do that in this place. You can't be out in this during this hour.
Yeah.
It spirals all through. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. One of the things that changed so much for me when I moved to Canada was the freedom of the things that I wear now.
Yes.
Because I know when I walk in the street, nobody is going to strip me. Nobody is going to say, oh my God, what is she wearing?
Yeah.
I can just exist as I want to exist,
Yes.
wear what I want to wear, as long as I feel comfortable. And I feel like it would be so great if that same mentality is shifted to where we're at home. Because what I'm wearing, how is it affecting your day?
Exactly.
Like, how does it affect your life? You're not going to have a heart attack. You're not going to die. Like, you won't lose sleep. You won't lose food because I wore shorts. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I'm really glad that, especially I spend a lot of time with my dad because I live when I'm back home. I live with him, and one of the things he does, because I used to worry a lot and be like, Dad, is this disrespectful? Like, he's like, are you comfortable in it? And they'll say yes, like then go. And I was thinking, if I'm allowed to do this in my house, why should I bother like outside there?
Yeah.
And then then it got me thinking that we need to like have the entire society having that mentality where women are just allowed to just like whatever you want to wear, just wear it. If you feel comfortable in it, like
Whatever makes you happy.
Yeah.
And
If you're comfortable in what you're wearing, put it on.
Yeah.
Because have you ever asked yourself why, like, when men walk around shirtless, nobody asks them anything?
True.
If a guy is walking and makiwa na chai hapo tao, party, nobody is going to ask him anything.
True. Yeah. That's true.
Lakini when a woman in Kenya akivalia like, you know, those, maybe they consider them indecent clothing. They're judged as, oh, look at that woman anakaa vibaya.
She's loose.
Yes. And
so honestly, she woke up in the morning and felt like wearing that dress, ama those shorts, and she's comfortable in those. Ama aliamka and decided, I'm gonna put on a dress to cover up everything. That's, if it makes her happy, then that's what she should do.
Yeah. Because like actually I was just kitu imekuja kwa mind is how this whole thing of dressing, it might look just as simple as dressing, but look at how it's used to kind of like stereotype women. You know, career women should wear this way. You know, these people who wear this way cannot fit in certain societal standards. You know, you cannot be a mother and be a bikini model. You know, I remember there were issues with Naomi. Tara Banks was talking about the same thing and all that. And it's like, why? You know, now it's not just what I'm wearing. It's my worth is now attached to how how I dress it.
It's wrong.
Yeah, so just let us leave. That's all we ask. It's not human being. It's not complicated. I think not rocket science.
And I think this came up where I was speaking with a really close friend of mine, and the conversation came. It's not about how women are raised, because when we are raised, I don't know about you guys, but me and my mother was very strict, and at any moment she had the chance, she would remind me, don't do this, men will look at you like this. Yes. Don't sit like that, you're sitting badly.
Oh, yeah.
Close your legs, carry a handkerchief, like do this and that. So then the question comes, like, who's raising the men? Who's raising the men who, when they walk on the street, and they see your shoulders, they Google. They're like, that's pray for me. Who's raising this man? When us who are busy being told to be careful, to walk properly, sit properly, dress properly. Who was telling the men not to look at us like that? Like, I think there's such a huge disconnect there.
Yeah, and that's why it's very important for us. As we parent the next generation, we ought to do better.
We do, yeah.
I feel like, our mothers were giving us what they thought was best for survival, because in the societies where they lived, for you to survive, you had to kind of abide by those rules. So in their right, they were trying to kind of make us acceptable, but I don't think they were realizing how harmful that is. And now that we are learning and unlearning and relearning, which is very hard, we of course need to, to raise the next generation better. Both male and female, all of them.
And the concerns were valid.
They were valid. That's true. Yeah.
I think the statistic is really high for especially women within the African continent who are assaulted by family members.
Oh yes.
It's actually surprisingly high.
It is
surprisingly high. So our mothers' concerns were extremely valid. We may not have appreciated it then. I think to a large extent it's like more anisumbua. So it's like I'm okay, like it's fine, everything is fine.
Yeah.
But the concerns were extremely valid.
Yeah.
Extremely valid.
Yeah. So, but we are grateful that now we are able to have these conversations. And, and have them openly. Because again, I remember there were things that we do not talk about them. We do not even whisper about them. So I think for me, the one thing that I appreciate is that we are having these conversations, and a lot more people are seeing the truth into it.
Yeah.
But the progress is so slow. We need to speed it
up. We do. I mean, in the 21st century,
2022,
policies are taking so many years.
Yes,
yeah.
And that's the other big problem. And it boils down again to politics, and also the kind of leaders even women leaders that we're choosing in government. Because, for example, when I heard that now Kenya was going to have the women representatives and the that gender role, I was excited because I was like, finally we'll get some representation. Finally somebody will go into parliament and bring a bill about childcare. Somebody will finally go into parliament and bring a bill about maybe things like sexual assault. But look at the kind of leaders we have. It's disheartening. It's disheartening to say that it's even among the people we expected to kind of be fighting for us. Then you realize that not all of them are in this fight for you.
Yeah.
It's a very small percentage, because all these women representatives, what agendas are they raising in the parliament? All these female MPs, because you would expect, we say that maybe men have not experienced these things, so maybe they don't know what is going on. But for sure, I know they have. But, they are not speaking up. Where are the Mother Karuas? Where are the people who used to challenge governments? So I also feel like in that respect, we also do have a lot to do.
I don't know if you guys remember when I think it was the first years when we had like the first election that had women representatives, and there was a conversation around menstrual periods in like disadvantaged communities in Kenya, and these women had the audacity to be like, they should just use sponges. And I remember like watching this and being like, have you ever used a sponge in your life?
Wow.
Like, have you ever like had that experience for you to go and tell a young 16-year-old, because you don't have money for this, just go and use sponges? And I think that's actually the first place where I was like, I don't think that having that seat of women representative was a good idea. Because then what it is it's just it's like a stunt of we are doing something about it, even though we are really not doing anything about it.
Yes.
Because when we talk about having more women in parliament, we're talking about having like creating a level playing field for women.
Yes.
So if you know that like a woman representative was there because they're a woman, it's in the name of the seat. So you're not going to respect that person.
Yes.
You're just gonna be like, you're there because you're a woman.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why you're there. Like, it was about creating equal opportunities, and to a large extent we are our own enemies.
True.
To a large extent we are our own enemies. Where if you have Mother Carol on a ticket and, for example, Kalonzo Musyoka on the same ticket, even women would rather vote for the man before they even consider voting for the woman. And I think that's a huge problem.
Yeah, I remember this PLO, when he was giving a speech, he said that that quote has stayed with me for so long that anytime, I'm not sure if it was his quote originally or he quoted somebody, that anytime he's fighting for Africans, that what he was saying, that he can only use one hand because one hand is busy keeping off the other Africans who are fighting him. And I feel it's the same kind of concept, right?
Yeah.
So there are those few who are actually trying to drive the agenda, but then they have to fight with one hand while trying to keep others who are fighting them. And I feel like that's just a very weird aspect of society.
Yeah, so I'm interested to know, I think along the same lines of like women in leadership and women doing the things that we are not expected to do in the world, who is a person that you would really love to have a conversation with, like sit and have a conversation with, either dead or alive, that you consider a hero? Like this person ukifikiria like ni mtu unataka kuwa, like you don't have to be the person, but you have traits that you really admire in them.
So I'll start with the person I would like to meet in Kenya, the woman. For me, it would be Janet Mbogwa. I love that woman so much. I have followed her ever since alikuwa kwa Citizen. And then she quit her job and then she started doing her own projects. And right now she's very passionate about women, about menstrual health, GBV. She's very passionate and very open about having those conversations. Supporting, like Sahizi, she opened a clinic, kind of a shelter, I would say. Uko, I think it's Kibra. Sorry if I'm wrong, but she opened somewhere, Uko marginalized Nairobi, to support women when they need menstrual care. They've gone through assault from their families, some are from other people in the community. So I would really like to meet Janet Mbogwa and talk to her and just see how she navigates life and to see where she got this passion from, because she's very passionate when she talks about those kind of subjects. And I like women who support other women and try to make those policies move forward. So I'll be, for me, Janet, I would like to meet her at some point. And then globally, I love Oprah. I would like to meet Oprah. Oprah has gone through so much. I have read her stories from when she got assaulted when she was very young. And she was also not brought up in a very well-to-do family, and she had to break all those curses. And now she's a billionaire running her own shows and all that, interviewing everyone you can think of. And also, like, she has a very close friend, her best friend. They've been friends for so long. And now that she's almost retired from, being on the limelight, she's now supporting her friend to do things that, she's like mentoring her to do things. And I like women, honestly, who support other women. So seeing her and her work, how she's sponsoring so many kids in South Africa, and bringing them to school, kuwapeleka shule, and adopting kids, and how like she made a personal choice with her partner, her life partner. I like how she chose herself. Akasema, Mimi, I don't want to get married, but we can do life, just we do life as partners. I don't want to get married. I'm choosing me, and this is why. So I like Oprah because she knows herself and what makes her happy. So I would like to meet her someday. Maybe I will never meet her, but I know her.
Nice.
You need to go next?
Yeah.
Okay, so in Kenya, well, unfortunately, I never have the opportunity to meet her live. But yeah, if you're in heaven when I'm coming, we must have a sit down. But Wangari Maathai is my all-time. Ever since the first time I heard her story, that was back in primary school. I was just amazed by the kind of person she is, because she did not let stereotypes or or society break her spirit, no matter what. She was the first Kenyan woman to earn a PhD in molecular biology in sciences. Well, actually, the first to earn a PhD, period. She got into politics. She was very vocal about what she believed in. And even when she was faced with the whole being shamed or you're having an affair, she was like, you know what, that's what you want to think, continue thinking. And for most people, that usually is like a career ending, kind of blow. But for her, she just moved on like nothing ever happened, And she went on to win a Nobel Prize and all those things. And to me, she's just amazing. And the way she was so passionate about what she was doing, to a point where she even put herself in harm's way. That is just commendable, to be honest. And I'll forever be in awe of the amazing person she was. Yeah, and actually, when she passed on, there's a time I had wanted to go into medicine for a very brief shot of a very brief moment in life. A very brief moment in life, because that was the first time I heard of cancer. And I was devastated. I was like, what the hell is this? And she was still young. She had a lot of life to give. So she definitely tops that list. Yeah.
Great.
And then internationally, for me, it would be Winnie Mandela. Yeah, what can I say about Winnie? There's just, it's kind of a tie between Winnie Mandela and Crystal Michelle, but both of them, for me, I just the kind of courage that both of them have, and the kind of unconventional lives they lived, it's just an inspiration for me, to be honest. I think I'm attracted to people who go against the grain, So yeah, and I think those are the the people I would like to emulate. I want to go, whatever I'm passionate about, I want to go full throttle into it, and I hope before I leave this world, I'll have made an impact, because that's what matters. Nowadays when you walk in Karura, when you sit in Uhuru Park, you can't help but think how much of a struggle it was just to have that space. And we thank Wangari Maathai for that, and we also thank Winnie Mandela for staying true, to her, even when everybody started shunning her, because Mandela has left her and all that. It did not put her down. So yeah, I think for me. But alive, okay, this is I'm taking like 3, but I would love to meet Michelle Obama.
Oh yes.
Just saying. So in case this goes viral, Hi, Michelle.
Michelle Obama. Yeah.
Hi, Michelle.
Yeah, I was also confused. Oprah and Michelle.
Yeah. I think my heroine. Hero.
You say it like that.
I mean, hero is apparently the male term, so I don't know what to use.
Yeah.
But it's definitely Mother Karua. I know people refer to her as the Iron Lady, and I can't wait for when I become like maybe if I join politics. I don't know if I will. Maybe if I do, like I also want to be an Iron Lady because people know not to mess with her. But anyway, that's besides the point. The point is that I feel like she's really passionate about what she does, and she's really passionate about doing it right. If that makes sense, like doing the right thing and doing it right. And I think in politics, like there's so much narratives that like move around about you. So I know there's a narrative around her like being super corrupt during the Kibaki regime, things like that. But I see her standing her ground and being like, where's the evidence? Like, show me the evidence. And I know like also these people can do that. But I generally just love how she thinks. I love how she's able to articulate herself and really like be smart about it, if that makes sense. Something I really respect about her is I think she understands the value of leadership. And for me, this came up just I think a few weeks ago when she had to talk to the media and she was like, guys, look, there are not only 2 candidates in this race. You guys have to give enough like information about everybody else who's within the race. And that gives an opportunity for Kenyans to know that it's not only 2 people that are there, and the fact that we have to give an opportunity to other people that also aspire to take up this role of presidency, for example. And I think the other thing is that she has a track record. Like if you talk to people in Kirinyaga, like she has a track record of the things that she has done with the power that was invested in her. And I'm really excited to see like what she does like later on in her life. And I really want to meet her. If anybody knows her, like give me her number or whatever needs to be done. But I think that if I was a leader, I would want to be her. If I was a leader, I would want to be her. A person who's resilient. She knows what she's doing. She knows her worth. She knows what she has done versus what has been said, and like she's unshakable, basically. And I just want to say like that's a trait I've seen in like women who are older, like 40-year-old women plus. It seems that there's something that clicks in your brain. You're like, you know what? If you want to say something, just say it. Like I don't actually care. You know what I mean? Like talk to me directly. Don't go through other channels. And that's one of the reasons I can't wait to be 40 because I can't wait to get to the level where I actually don't really care about what people have to say about me. I think it's liberating, and it's liberating to see it in other people. From an international standpoint, I don't know if there's anybody that I'm like strongly connected to, but I love to hear stories of women presidents and the things that they do. I think there's a statistic that shows that women presidents have like significantly like more positive change as compared to their counterparts. Even within business, it seems that like women leaders within business have significantly more positive results than what has traditionally been done. And I think it's because women like we look at things holistically. We don't only look at if it's business, what's gonna give us profit. We think about like who's our client, what do they feel, are we being empathetic, things like that. And I think those things really contribute to how the world runs.
Be humble, keep it classy, keep it real. She doing her thing though. She's a real go-getter. Anything you do, she do it better. She doing her thing though. And anything she wants, she will get it. Unapologetic. She doing her thing though. Unstoppable, a phenomenal. She doing her thing though. She a queen though. I wanna meet Buddha, so I can shake her hand, tell her she a queen, she made something of herself. Now I can catch feelings, she account shillings, top billing, while she in a private jet. Get down on your knees and praise, and then do your best. They don't know your tears, what you say. Speak now or forever hold your breath. Now you can bet your money on me. Baby, I'm the real deal, real deal. And they can never slow me down. I'm a big deal, big deal. Mama told me, sit down, be humble. Keep it classy like Victoria. She doing her thing though. She's a real go-getter. Anything you do, she do it better. She doing her thing though. And anything she wants, she will get it. Unapologetic. She doing her thing though. Unstoppable, a phenomenal. She doing her thing though. She a queen though. She a queen though. I wanna big up all the queens in the building. All the queens doing their thing. I see you, baby. Get on the floor one time. Nah, picky maua. Picky maua. Picky maua. Picky maua. Now you can bet your money on me. Baby, I'm the real deal, real deal. And they can never slow me down. I'm a big deal, big deal. Mama told me, sit down, be humble, keep it classy.
In short, I think everybody should be like women. Like everybody should just think like women, and to everybody else like think like women. So that we can have a better world.
Yes,
we can have a world where people love each other, think about each other.
Yes.
Exactly. We not only put ourselves first. It's very important for women to put ourselves first because we live in a world where nobody is going to put us first.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like we think about ourselves and we also think about other people.
Yes.
I think if we live in a world where people thought about the other person and the repercussions of the other person, things like the war we are currently experiencing would not have been happening. That's my 2 cents.
Think of like these words that I'm going to read out. So when you think of fashion,
Rihanna.
yeah.
Sharon Mundia.
Ooh, Sharon Mundia. Yes. I think for me, when I think fashion in Kenya, I'm a big fan of Naomi Nganga's work, Style by Naomi, and mostly the pieces she has done for Kate Actress, and I also love Kate Actress. Her sense of fashion is well, and the people who dress her stylists. Good work. You're doing a good work. But internationally for me, and I think style, I think Gab Union.
Oh
You know, she's
God. Yep.
yeah, she gives us some exquisite pieces. So I do appreciate that.
Yes, that's true.
I think for me internationally it's Michelle Obama.
Oh.
I think internationally for me it's Michelle Obama. I don't know who dresses her,
Oh,
but
yeah.
whoever is dressing her, you're doing a good job.
keep at it.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one is comedy.
Internationally?
Yeah, either.
Comedy. Tiffany Haddish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In Kenya?
I only know Mamita.
Like Awinja, formerly of Papa Shirandula.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's been doing some parodies. It is really nice. We have people like Rono.
Yeah, I was gonna say Rona for me. I love her. Oh my god, Rona, if you're watching this, I absolutely love her.
Yes.
She's so funny.
Yes. And then internationally?
Nah, it's Rona.
Then-
Rona laughing.
So there's this UK comedian, her name is Gina, I think Yashere? Sorry if I've butchered your name, but I like your comedy. She's a Nigerian, she's of Nigerian descent, but raised in the UK. She has really hilarious comedy. So
Grace Sajid Laurie is also really funny. She's based in the UK. Yeah.
next category. Okay, the next category is leadership. Yeah, this is broad. For me, okay, right now, internationally, it will have to be Jacinta Ardern, just because of the way she has managed the pandemic and all that. So she kind of comes top of my mind at the moment internationally.
I think I would go for that too. That would, yeah.
Yeah, and then in terms of like Kenya, a lady called Grace Wanene. She's from Laikipia. She's the former Miss Earth Kenya, and she's doing amazing work with Drawing Dreams Initiative. Shout out Drawing Dreams Initiative, and she's been doing a lot of work around menstrual hygiene and school feeding programs in the northern parts of Kenya, and it's commendable. Shout out to my homie.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great work.
Njiru is an icon in fashion. Wawira Njiru is food for education.
Yes.
Well, Njiru is actually, she's one of the, my fashion icons.
Nice.
Oh my god, how did I mix, they're sisters, I guess.
Yes.
Sharon Mundia is a fashion icon.
Yeah, Sharon Mundia and I think Njiru too.
Yeah.
I think
Wawira, good work.
Wawira is
amazing, beautiful work you're doing with
100%.
With that.
I mixed the sisters. It's okay, they're sisters, so I guess it wouldn't be too bad.
And then in terms of like courage or like fears, I don't know how to explain that because that encompasses a lot of things.
I think for me, there's a lady called Susan Wangoi Mogwe.
Mm-hmm.
People don't know her. I don't think she wants to be known, so I'll just leave it at her name. But she's one of the most revolutionary women I've ever met in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's so many curveballs that have been thrown at her, but she's still standing.
Yeah.
And she's standing strong. She's not only standing, she's standing strong. So I think for me, it's definitely Wangoi Mogwe. She's an amazing woman.
Yeah.
I hope she knows that.
I think for me it would have to be two. I do have two names. So one is Njeri Megwe. Njeri Megwe runs a safe house for GBV victims, and she was a victim of GBV herself, and now she runs a rescue home, and she's been doing great work. It's tough work, but she's very courageous at it. So big shout out. And the second person for me would have to be Adele Anyango. She's unapologetic. She's just amazing. So keep going, Adele. Keep telling the truth. Because you're doing a good job. Okay, so we've had a really good time and a very deep conversation, and would love to hear what you have to say about some of the topics we've discussed, and also other topics that you'd want to hear. I hope Jamba will invite us back for another session sometime soon. So put it down there in the comments. Let's know what you feel. Shout out the great women in your life and in your circle of influence who are doing great things in the comment section. You can use hashtag Break the Bias, which is this year's theme for the International Women's Day and also the Women's History Month. So hashtag Break the Bias, and let's continue spreading the word. Let's continue breaking the bias, and remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button so that you know when our next episode drops. And thank you so much for giving us your time.